Deep within the forests of Ravenswood, far from highways and power lines, there stands an ancient, rusting radio tower. The locals call it Station 11. It was built in the 1950s during the Cold War, broadcasting regional news and emergency signals. In the 1990s, after a series of strange electrical fires, the station was officially decommissioned and left to rot. But according to countless witnesses, every night at exactly midnight, the tower comes alive. Its red warning light flickers on, and distorted transmissions leak through radios across the countryside, garbled voices, screams, and sometimes, predictions. Many villagers swear they've heard the station announce events before they happened, accidents, murders, even a massive flood that devastated a nearby town years later. Most dismiss it as ghost stories. But to journalist Sarah Whitlock, it was the perfect story to launch her career. The assignment. Sarah was a young investigative reporter with a reputation for chasing dangerous stories. When her editor mentioned the mysterious broadcasts of Station 11, she knew it was her chance to finally prove herself. "Bring back something solid," he said, sliding a folder across his desk. "Audio recordings, photographs, anything. The public loves a good mystery, just don't come back empty-handed." Sarah didn't plan to come back empty-handed. She assembled a small team. Mark, a sound engineer with experience in radio equipment. Dana, a skeptical producer who didn't believe in the supernatural. Aaron, Sarah's childhood friend and cameraman, who joined mostly to protect her. Together, they drove deep into the forest, following dirt roads and old maps until the looming silhouette of Station 11 rose through the fog. Its skeletal frame stretched toward the moon, the rusted tower groaning in the wind. The station. The building beneath the tower was surprisingly intact. The heavy front door creaked open, revealing a lobby coated in decades of dust. Old posters hung on the walls, civil defense instructions, weather alerts from the 1970s, smiling announcers urging people to stay tuned. But what unsettled them most was the broadcast room. The equipment sat untouched, a coffee mug still half full and dried, a leather-bound logbook open on the desk. The on-air sign above the window glowed faintly red, even though there was no power supply in sight. Mark swallowed nervously. This shouldn't be possible. There's no generator, no connection to the grid. Sarah flipped through the logbook. The last entry was dated October 31, 1993, and the handwriting ended abruptly, mid-sentence. "Midnight approaches. The voices are back. If anyone finds this, do not." The final word trailed off in a shaky line. The first broadcast. At 11:50 p.m., the group set up their cameras and microphones. The air grew oppressively heavy, like a storm was about to break. Then, at exactly midnight, every radio in their possession crackled to life. A distorted voice began to speak in a tone that was neither male nor female, human nor machine. It listed dates and locations, future tragedies that hadn't happened yet. Dana's face went pale as she checked her phone. "Wait. That last one, a car crash on Route 14. That just happened, 10 minutes ago." The voice continued, more frantic now. The static rose into a deafening wail before the transmission abruptly shifted. The voice spoke their names. Sarah Whitlock. Dana Brooks. Mark Redding. Aaron Cole. "You have entered Station 11. Aaron slammed his hands over his ears. "How does it know our names?" Sarah stared at the glowing red sign. "It's live. It's watching us." The basement. Terrified but determined, Sarah convinced the group to search the basement. The wooden stairs creaked under their weight as they descended into darkness. The air grew colder, the walls damp with condensation. Strange symbols were scratched into the concrete, spiraling inward toward a massive, ancient radio transmitter that pulsed like a living heart. Mark examined the machine, trembling. "This isn't standard tech. It's older. And it's not built to send signals. It's built to receive." Suddenly, the logbook Sarah carried burst into flames. From the speakers embedded in the walls, the distorted voice returned, but now it was clear, sharp, and commanding. Remain. Broadcast. Obey. Dana screamed as the heavy door above slammed shut. The clock on the wall struck 12:15 a.m., and the station locked them inside. The ritual broadcast. The equipment lit up by itself. On the control board, glowing buttons shifted between frequencies. Aaron's camera captured flickering images on the monitor. People from decades past, their mouths moving silently, their faces twisted in terror. The voice gave them instructions. At first, they were simple: speak certain words, turn certain dials. But the commands grew darker, demanding blood and sacrifice. Dana refused. "I won't play its game." The lights exploded overhead. Dana's body jerked violently, lifted off the ground by invisible forces. Her screams were drowned out by a piercing tone as the others watched helplessly. When the noise stopped, she was gone, nothing but her headset remained on the floor. Mark fell to his knees, sobbing. "It's using us as hosts. That's why the old crew disappeared. The tower doesn't broadcast signals, it broadcasts people." Sarah's hands shook as she realized the horrifying truth. "We're not here to report the news. We are the news." Escape attempt. Desperate to survive, Sarah and Aaron tried to fight back. Mark, overwhelmed by fear, began to obey the voice, adjusting dials and chanting the phrases it demanded. The transmission grew stronger, reaching radios for miles around. Aaron tackled Mark, but the moment he interrupted the ritual, the floor split open, revealing a pit of swirling static and ghostly figures. Aaron was dragged into the void, his scream fading into the sound of dead air. Sarah ran, clutching the logbook's charred remains. She reached the lobby, but the front door wouldn't budge. Behind her, Mark's voice echoed, or rather, something speaking through him. "You cannot leave, Sarah. Midnight must never end. The final hour." Sarah fled back to the broadcast room. The equipment glowed, and the red, on-air, sign burned brighter than ever. The voice now sounded eerily like hers, mimicking her tone, her words. "Welcome to Station 11. Tonight's story is about a foolish reporter who thought she could uncover the truth." Sarah screamed into the microphone. "If anyone can hear me, destroy this tower. Burn it to the ground." The static roared. The last thing Sarah saw was Mark standing in the control booth, his eyes completely white, before the lights went out. The morning after. At dawn, a search party arrived. They found the building empty, the equipment cold and silent. The only clue was a single sheet of paper lying on the console. It read, "New broadcast tonight. Midnight." That night, across Ravenswood, radios crackled to life. Listeners heard Sarah's terrified voice pleading for help, followed by the same chilling sign-off. This has been Station 11. Stay tuned. To this day, locals refuse to go near the tower. But if you drive through Ravenswood after dark, you might catch a faint transmission. And if you hear your own name whispered through the static, don't answer.